Hello. Today, I'm going to tell you why your team will never be good at anything just as I do every single day. Today, in particular, I will be revisiting the most famous draft in NBA history, the one that happened yesterday, in which future Hall of Famer Luka Doncic was not taken first. He was in fact taken third overall by the Atlanta Hawks, and then traded for Trae Young and a 2021 first round pick. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a redraft on what the general managers of the NBA should have been doing yesterday if they had any sense at all, which they don't because they're general managers. I know that they don't because I'm not an NBA general manager, and because I browse r/NBA, I instantly know more than any GM in the league. I also have Bleacher Report notifications turned on my phone, so I'm more aware of NBA news than any dumb GM could hope to be. Now, before I begin, I do want to preface this by saying that this is all completely subjective, and I actually have no idea how these prospects will pan out, other than everyone whose position I changed, because I know they'll be garbage. I know that because I asked them and they told me it's just a whole thing. All those NBA guys, they all come to talk to me about, who's going to be the best and who's going to be the worst, especially the players that just got drafted who, they're saying, oh man, I'm really nervous because I know I'm going to shit the bed in the first game. Anyway, let's begin by reminding everybody of the draft order. You see that on your screen now. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to be eliminating, removing, or altering any of the on-the-night draft trades because the picks will be different, i.e. pick number 3 traded to pick number 5, Trae Young for Luka Doncic. Any on-the-night draft trades, I'll be removing. I'm also only doing the first pick to the 15th pick rather than the first to the 60th, because nobody cares past pick 15. Nobody watches anymore. So here's the pick of your draft order. Let's get straight into it. Number 1, Luka Doncic. Let's not waste time. Luka is taking the case best player over the best fit for your team. There's often an argument about whether you take the best player or the best fit for your team. Most of the time you should take the best fit, but in a case of Luka Doncic, he overrides that because he's going to be so good that he's going to be the best player, top 5 player in the league, future Hall of Famer. Calling it now, second best European player behind Dirk Nowitzki. By the end of his career, that is. Doncic is ridiculously good for his age. He's been the best player in Europe for his last season, and he's won most of the awards. He won the Euro Championship, he won the EuroLeague MVP, he won the ACB Championship, etc., etc., etc. Final Four MVP in his league. I think he's going to be really good in Phoenix, but they didn't take him. Booker at the shooting guard with Doncic as a point forward, point guard. Not exactly sure how they're going to play him yet. Rick Carlisle said there might be the possibility that he plays power forward. I don't know. He's like 6'7", 225. So if he matches up against the bigger power forwards, he's going to get fucking cooked in his first goes. But anyway, only time will tell. In terms of what his position would be on a Suns roster, the Suns could easily pursue a free agent center. There's a lot of good free agent centers out on the market this summer. A la Clint Capella, DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard, who just got a buyout from the Brooklyn Nets after getting traded from Charlotte for a second-round pick. What the fuck, Charlotte? Anyhow, those 3 are the best free agent centers on the market right now. There's a few others, but the Phoenix Suns are really looking for a bit more rim protection because Tyson Chandler's 36 now, so you don't really want to be paying him anything more than a veteran minimum. If you look at the starting lineup of what the Phoenix Suns would look like, I'm putting it on your screen now. You've got Luka Doncic, Devin Booker, Josh Jackson, insert a random power forward, and insert a free agent rim protecting center. That's a good lineup. That is a good lineup. The bench is still fucking rubbish, but you can work on that. You can, get some later picks, and you can get some veteran minimum contract players. That all kind of comes together. I'm not saying it'll be a playoff team, but, for a young core, that's well on the way, up with the Lakers and some of the younger cores in the team who are not quite playoff ready yet. Sacramento Kings comes to mind. Predict this. Doncic will be the best player in the draft, and he should have gone number 1. I bet my fucking bottom dollar on it. He should have gone number 1. We will be looking back on the Trae Young, Luka Doncic trade as a big what if, because Dallas will be picking up some fucking steam after Doncic, and they've got a few other good young players. Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be pretty decent. He'll probably be second fiddle to Luka Doncic, but that's neither here nor there. Let's move on to the second pick We've got the Sacramento Kings picking second. They should, and they did, take Marvin Bagley III as the second pick. I don't think Bagley will be the second best player in the draft, despite being the second pick. The Kings should have taken Doncic in the 2018 draft, but in this scenario, they won't be able to because Doncic went number 1. The Kings are stacked at center. I still believe in Willie Cauley-Stein. I still think he's going to be good. And I don't think taking another center will do the Kings any good, especially one like DeAndre Ayton, who can't play defense. Marvin Bagley is super athletic, and I think he complements De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield very well. Buddy Hield is underrated, by the way. People forget that he shot 43% on 5 attempts a game. That's pretty good. He's big like Clay, and he shoots like Steph. Yes, he does. Bagley's a rim runner. He'll rebound. He'll make good cuts. He'll play alongside De'Aaron. Good dump-offs. Getting in some good solid dunks, some good offensive rebounds, some putbacks. He's a pretty decent piece. Defense, no one plays defense anymore. Unfortunately for the Kings, I don't think Marvin Bagley is good enough to push them into the playoffs just by himself. He still needs some more help. I don't think he'll do that ever. I don't think he'll ever be good enough. If DeMarcus Cousins was not good enough to take the Kings to the playoffs, then Marvin Bagley will never be as good as DeMarcus Cousins. A few more pieces, there will be some promise in the Kings. A free agent, for whatever reason, a free agent might want to go to Sacramento. I don't see why they would. But if they can get a free agent, then fucking sounds good to me. Like I said, I'm not turned off by Willie Cauley-Stein yet. I still believe, I think he's the trilliest Willie in the entire league. And that's just my opinion. Like I said, it's subjective. Most Kings fans that I've spoken to don't really believe in him. Harry Giles was supposed to be going number 1 a couple years ago, but he got hurt in college and he never really played. And he was a late pick, but that's neither here nor there. Let's move on. Oh, before we get to the third pick, I just want to remind everyone, this is who I think will be the best players in the draft. This is not a big what if just surrounding if Luka Doncic should have gone number 1. This is just about who I think will be the best players and what should have happened. With that in mind, Hawks number 3, they still take Trae Young. That's right. Trae Young, number 3. They were probably going to take him no matter who was left. But in this case, I think Trae Young will be the third best player. Young is a polarizing star, and he will end up as a prolific scorer in the realm of Steph Curry. I think he will. That 25-point plus every single night is going to be great. The Hawks will do nothing with him, and after his rookie contract is over, he will leave as a free agent because the Hawks are rubbish. I still think that will happen. Atlanta's garbage. Nobody wants to play there. End of story. But in terms of potential, I think Trae Young has the possibility of being both the best scorer in the draft, and I think he has the ability to be a championship level, that is, point guard on a contending team, a la whoever the fuck is not going to be good enough by the time any of the big 3, being Boston, Rockets, and Golden State, are still contenders. But that's neither here nor there. His range, in case you haven't realized by now, is pretty fucking ridiculous, alright? 28 feet, 30 feet, pulling up. He's got a really quick, really nice jump shot. Really quick release. It's brilliant. His range in this league, we're not trending away from the 3-point shot, but everyone has become enamored with this idea of the point god, the Ben Simmons, the Giannis's, the LeBrons, the Doncic's of the world. Everybody wants a skilled 6'11" guy like a Kevin Durant, but you're never going to get another Kevin Durant. LeBron, you're never going to get another LeBron because Ben Simmons will never be as good as LeBron because he won't ever have a jump shot, I don't think. He's too much of a fucking diva at this point to ever develop a jump shot, but that's neither here nor there. In terms of Trae Young's defense, I think his inability to play defense, what people say is his inability, is pretty overrated. You look at the top 10 players in the league right now, and more than 30% of the top 10 players in the league, that's right, 30% are below average defenders for their position. Those 3, yes, 3, because fucking baited. There's 3 that are above 30%. LeBron, Westbrook, Harden, below average defenders. You got baited. Gotcha, kiddo. With that said, LeBron and Westbrook are good defenders. Despite what I just said, they actually just don't ever fucking try because they shoulder such a load on the offensive end. and because Westbrook's lazy. But I really like Westbrook, but he's lazy. In terms of James Harden, no, he's just a shit defender. But I digress. Trae Young is a beast, certified beast, and he should have gone number 3 to Atlanta. Number 4, DeAndre Ayton to Memphis. Yes, the number 1 pick should have gone number 4. Gasol wants out of Memphis. The big center wants out of Memphis. He does not like the staff. He doesn't like his minutes. He doesn't like getting roasted. He will be gone by the trade deadline this season, mark my words. Ayton will be his replacement in this scenario. He's a great scorer, which is something the Grizzlies sorely need. Conley and Tyreek, they're solid players, but they don't really have the legs to make a fat playoff run. Conley's on the older side. He's got his money now. I'm not sure if he's interested in really competing for a championship because no one on the Grizzlies would be. Anyone who takes a contract extension is not interested in winning a championship if they're on the Grizzlies. I think DeAndre Ayton will be able to cook most teams on any given night. Given his size, he's got a good shooting stroke. I think he'll be kind of like a Karl Anthony Towns Jr. That's still a great compliment because Karl Anthony Towns is ridiculous. I don't think Ayton has the ability to put the ball on the floor like Karl Anthony Towns, who can run a fast break like Shaq or David Robinson. But I still think he's got the same half-court offensive abilities. I think his defensive ability is not mentioned enough, in that his inability to play defense is not mentioned enough. He's not a good rim protector for his size. He gets torched in pick and rolls pretty often when he's switching out onto the smaller guards. Like Trae Young, yes. His defensive IQ is very poor. He lacks urgency, and he's turnover prone. Well, sounds like a lot of superstars in the league to me. This is a case of take the best player available, Ayton to Memphis at 4. Number 5, Mo Bamba to Dallas. Yes. No trades in this scenario. Dallas needed a defensive-minded center who will protect the rim and rebound. Mo Bamba is both of those things. He is a defensive-minded center. He will protect the rim, and he will rebound for you. He will be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate for many years, in my opinion. But his offense will never flourish. He'll be Rudy Gobert. He's exactly what Dallas needs, though. He's the perfect choice for them. When they've got some young scorers, like a Dennis Smith, like a Harrison Barnes, who's not exactly as young, but is still promising. Kostas Antetokounmpo, they took him number 60. He's exactly what Dallas needs. Dirk is on his last legs. He'll probably be coming off the bench this year. Dallas is in need of another scorer. That will have to come in free agency in the next few years. Plus, they'll be able to rely on Dennis Smith Jr.'s development. Look for a Julius Randle or a Klay Thompson to join Dallas next year. 2019 free agent Klay Thompson might want a bit more money if we can't get Julius Randle this offseason. When I say we, I mean Dallas. I'm not a Dallas fan. Dennis Smith Jr., Klay Thompson, Wesley Matthews, Harrison Barnes, and Mo Bamba would be a playoff runner if this scenario were to happen. But it didn't. Number 6, Orlando. I'm sending Jaren Jackson Jr. to Orlando. He's a beast. I really don't care what happens to him. I put him in the franchise, which will never interest me, because it hires coaches who don't work and pays players who don't want to be there. Sorry, Jaren. The best thing about Jaren Jackson is that his name is similar to Janet Jackson Jr., who showed us her titties at the Super Bowl. Moving on. Number 7, Wendell Carter. Wendelian Carterino Jr. Juice, the 4th, is a great athlete and a very productive player who I think will slot in nicely, very nicely, next to Larry Markkinen. He's a rebounder. He can step out a bit. He's the perfect piece for a young Chicago roster. I also think he's one of the better juniors in the draft this year, which is saying a lot because there is a metric fuck ton of juniors in the draft this year. Well done, Chicago. This is a great pick. I'm happy for you. Enjoy watching your team play next year, Chicago fans. Number 8. This is where it gets interesting. I said Kevin Knox to Cleveland. Cleveland will be stockpiling on Kevins as much as possible to ensure maximum watchability by everybody in the world named Kevin after LeBron leaves. He can no longer play basketball. He can play basketball, but more importantly, he will be the second best Kevin on the Cleveland roster. This is a no-brainer because there are no other Kevins in the draft. Also look for Tyronn Lue to be fired and immediately replaced with Kevin McHale, who brings Kevin Garnett back from Area 21 to be his assistant coach. Kevin Durant legally changed his name to the Servant because he thinks it's cool for whatever reason, and he doesn't want to be part of the Kevin movement because he'd have to leave Golden State. Cleveland Kevins become instant title favourites and highlight the 2019 season when Kevin Garnett hosts the Larry O'Brien Trophy, points at Adam Silver and says, "Yeah, Cleveland Kevins, we out here. D with the Q, we out here, boy, this what's up." Before finally removing the hoodie from his bald head to reveal that he has in fact scalped himself and he was 65% hoodie from the waist up all along. Kevin Love is blamed for the incident. Poor Kevin. Poor Kevin. Number 9. Dante DiVincenzo to the Knicks. The Knicks front office originally wanted Colin Sexton. Fucking whatever. But Dante's papa owns the local restaurant and also happens to be part of the Italian New York Mafia. Don't tell anyone I said that. He told me himself, I promise, he did. James Dolan was threatened by the DiVincenzo's family, who threatened to purchase the team from him unless they took him number 9. They took him with the 9th pick in this scenario. You get me? Yeah, DiVincenzo the Knicks, whatever. Number 10. A controversial pick in the original draft, to say the least. Mikal Bridges to the 76ers. Bring the boy home. Philadelphians have suffered enough by having to live in Philadelphia. Psych! Fuck Philadelphia! Troy Brown gets drafted 10th because I hate Philadelphia. Number 11, Colin Sexton to the Hornets. I think Colin will be the perfect replacement to Kemba Walker when Kemba forces a trade to Cleveland, before realizing that not only LeBron no longer there, but he's immediately outcast because his name is only got 40% similarity to Kevin. Mitch Kupchak is furious at the pick because he cannot trade it to anybody for Mozgov because Mozgov is already on the Charlotte roster. Now, number 12. I dare not put anybody's name in this spot because that would mean I'd be banishing them to the Clippers. If I name a point guard, they'll miss the season with injury. If I name a shooting guard, they'll have to relinquish their starting spot to Austin Rivers. Or else Doc Rivers will lecture them for 17 hours until they beg him to stop. He won't though. His voice will only become raspier and raspier before he eventually can no longer speak. He just emits a rough screech, which will eventually cause schizophrenia within the draftee. I won't name any forwards either, because I'm going to be taking Tobias Harris in my fantasy draft this year, and I don't want him to get reduced minutes. The Clippers wouldn't draft a center anyway, because DeAndre Jordan is under blood oath to never leave the team. Unluckily for him, all of the guys that forced him into the oath weren't actually under oath themselves either, and they left to a Texas team or they got traded for Tobias Harris and another very large human named Boban Marjanovic, which, in my opinion, is the best combination of Boban, Bogdan, or Bojan, as well as the best out of Marjanovic, Bogdanovic, and Teodosic. Doncic will be an up-and-coming itch very soon, though. Yes, he will. Number 13. The Clippers had 2 picks. Does anybody care about the fucking Clippers? Is anybody still watching at this point for anything other than Michael Porter Jr.? Now, number 14. That's right, Michael Porter Jr. gets sent back to the Nuggets again. This is a great pick by the Nuggets originally, because taking a guy like Porter at 14 is a win-win. Nobody's mad if your 14th pick is not an all-star, because statistically, it's very unlikely that the 14th pick will ever become an all-star in any draft. But if he becomes a beast, then everybody praises you for snagging a beast with the 14th pick. If he fell this far originally in the draft, then you can tell his back is definitely a serious issue at this point. Without his back problems, we were talking about him as a potential number 1 pick, which a lot of people have forgotten. He's a scoring forward, a la the mighty Joe Ingles. Yeah, right. Though Michael Porter Jr. will never be as good as fucking Joe Ingles can't. I think Michael Porter Jr. will slot in nicely next to Harris, Murray, and Jokic over in Denver. If he works out, great, and if not, oh well, it was the fucking 15th pick. The 14th pick, rather. No one cares about the 14th pick. But, now, we get to pick number 15. The Washington Wizards select LiAngelo Ball. Yes, LiAngelo. I'll tell you why. There are too many good names left at 15 to allow the Wizards to make a good selection. I will simply not create an environment in which Ernie makes an intelligent selection, because there's no situation where that would be realistic. I'm sorry, Washington fans. It's true. It's true. You know it. It's true. Ernie has you by the scrotum, and there's nothing you can do about it. LiAngelo Ball immediately joins the team, and is as garbage as everyone thinks he would be. He's a G League bottom feeder at best, and he cannot defend anybody. He's too small for the forwards, and he's too slow for the guards. LiAngelo Ball will creep into a deep depression as he is ridiculed by angry Washington fans, who don't realise that this isn't his fault that the Wizards front office gave such high expectations to a guy who rode the bench for 2 games in college. Eventually, the Wizards core as we know it will be broken up, and John Wall will be traded to a contender for picks. Bradley Beal will flourish for half a season without John Wall, but he'll injure himself again, and he'll become a shell of his former self, but still expect a max contract anyway. What Porter's done after his current contract, Washington fans will lose their minds. They'll storm the Washington Wizards HQ with torches, pitchforks, and a mob-driven thirst for blood. They'll torch the front office before finally locating Ernie Grunfield's secret cave. Pictures of Jan Mahimi in revealing positions stain the decor of the darkened walls. A mob approaches Grunfield, who is seated behind his desk. As they grab him by the scruff and begin to take their anger out for all of his wrongdoings, he laughs in agonizing pain. Moments before he takes his final breath, he screams,
"Give LiAngelo an extension!"
before finally collapsing. Yeah, and so there you have it. The Trash Talk Podcast official, no humour, fully serious redraft of the 2018 NBA Draft. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you have any agreements or disagreements, please leave a comment and take up vigorous but polite debate with the other commenters. I hope everybody has a great day, except Philadelphians. Watch more basketball. See you in the next episode.